The government has issued advice to local authorities on dealing with protests outside schools over LGBT-inclusive teaching. The 21-page document, seen by the BBC, lays out how councils should support teachers to minimize disruption. It comes after continued protests outside schools in Birmingham against the teaching of LGBT relationships. The Department for Education (DfE) said it was working to ensure authorities had information to support schools. The No Outsiders Equality Program, which encourages children to accept differences in religions, families and relationships, was suspended in March amid angry protests at the gates of Parkfield Community School in Birmingham. Protesters stated the subject matter contradicted the Islamic faith and that primary-age children were too young to be aware of same-sex relationships. The National Association of Head Teachers (NIT) previously said up to 70 schools in England had seen resistance from parents on relationships education. The document, produced by the DfE, suggests councils could consider enforcement action if pupils are withdrawn from school because parents do not agree with what is being taught. It also suggests if demonstrations are happening outside school gates, head teachers should consider liaising with police in case protesters are breaking the law. Teachers who have seen the document told the BBC of their frustration at not being consulted beforehand. They said they continued to feel unsupported as they tackled such a sensitive and emotive situation. From September 2020, relationships education will be compulsory for all primary pupils. Some organizations are opposed to the introduction of these subjects, or to some of the expected content, the leaked document said. The same can be said about this 10-year-old who was suspended from school for a week after asking her teacher permission to be excused from participating in a Pride Month LGBT lesson has gone on the record to explain the real dangers of the invasion of LGBT ideology in her school.
I only learnt what homophobic means the other day, and it means that you don't like LGBT people. So I was confused when she said that I was being very homophobic.
Before anybody knew what LGBT meant, suspended from the Heathers Farmer Primary School located in Croydon, South London.
I think that they're trying to confuse children into saying, "What are you?" Because before anybody knew what LGBT meant, everybody knew what gender they were. But now people are confused and they're saying that they're bisexual and trans because they're confused, and people are trying to say it's okay. But before all of this happened, they were completely confident of who they were, but now they're not. My mum isn't telling me to say this, it's completely myself, because my mum's not the one that's going to school to see this happening, I am. So this is my opinion and what I'm saying to stop LGBT lessons from happening in school. Because it's really affecting other kids, and even though you might not think that it's affecting other kids, it is, because now they are losing confidence in themselves and looking at themselves and thinking, why am I this person, why couldn't I be someone else?
Susan Papaz, the head of Heathers Farmer Primary School, Croydon, South London, who banned the children from the school for 5 days for alleged anti-LGBT comments, has been reported to the local authorities for what amounts to an unlawful act. Christian Concern, an advocacy group seeking to restore the United Kingdom to the Christian faith, recounts the incident that led to the 2 students' suspension. On June the 20th, Farrell, sitting next to his friend Casey in class, asked his Year 5 class teacher, "Sir, please may I not take part in this lesson?" When the teacher handed out LGBT material for colouring, the teacher refused permission, saying that the LGBT lesson was part of the curriculum. After class, the form teacher is said to have accused Farrell of using homophobic language for allegedly saying, "LGBT sucks and LGBT's dumb," which the child denies. Farrell, who was sitting with female pupil Casey, says he is a Christian and told to visit a teacher he did not accept LGBT because of his religion. The teacher asked the two children, "Do you want them to die?" "We said no," Farrell replied. If, however, they went back to their countries, they would be punished for being gay, Farrell told the teacher. The teacher asked Farrell where he was from. Farrell said he was of African Jamaican heritage, and because there everybody is Christian and Catholic, so they don't accept LGBT. Later, Ms. Papaz shouted at the two children in front of the class, according to Casey. "How dare you? You are a disappointment to the school," Papaz told the two children outside the classroom. Papaz then put the children in different rooms and asked Casey, "How dare you say that you want to kill LGBT people?" Casey replied, "I didn't say kill." Papaz then shouted at her and said, "Yes, you did, and don't lie." Casey, a Pentecostal Christian, says she was kept in detention for 5 hours from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Casey's and Farrell's version of the story, which differs widely from what their teacher and the head of their school alleged, has been corroborated by their classmates. This is why parents are beginning to see the dangers of the imposition of the new sexual and gender ideology that does not permit dissent even from innocent 10-year-old children, said Andrea Williams, chief executive of the Christian Legal Center, which is aiding the two students and their families in this matter. This incident highlights again just how aggressive and intolerant the LGBT agenda can be, continued Williams. An ideology that is to resort to such heavy-handed tactics to force 10-year-old children to accept something that instinctively they do not, only highlights how life-crushing that ideology is. Here we see the fragility of this whole sexual agenda imposed on our children and unable to withstand the challenge of innocent 10-year-old children, noted Williams. When bullies know that right is not on their side, they resort to coercion and intimidation. That is exactly what is being played out in Heather's Farm Primary School, Williams added. Ghetto People Opinion asks, if the LGBT Foundation is based upon democracy, freedom of speech, the right to sexual preferences and acceptance of such, why when you are allowed that freedom, you then become the same monster you were fighting? Ghetto People Opinion says, give your opinion in the comment section, like, share and subscribe. Please keep comments as reasonably as possible. We are not here to stir up anger, but to live and work together, to try understand each other's opinion. Your opinion is as valid as mine's depending on how you look at it. But our opinions are always subjected to the objective truth, and not what we believe. Peace.